The unexpected arrival. It was an ordinary day, like any other, on Earth. People went about their lives, businesses were running, and the world seemed peaceful. But deep in the heart of Earth's military command center, something strange began to happen. The communication station picked up an unusual signal. At first, it seemed like another satellite glitch or a simple interference, but as the signal grew stronger, the technicians realized it was not like anything they had encountered before. It was a pattern, a complex sequence of numbers and symbols. This wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was a message. On the large screens in the control room, experts scrambled to decode the signal. There was a sense of urgency in the air, as people around the world started to notice the strange readings. It wasn't just Earth's military. Every major space agency was receiving the same signal, each person trying to make sense of the mysterious message. The signal came from deep space, far beyond anything humanity had ever explored. After hours of decoding, a simple message was finally uncovered. Help. Just one word, but it was enough to send shockwaves through every government and scientific agency on the planet. But who was asking for help? And why? The world's leaders called an emergency meeting. Experts from all fields, military commanders, scientists, engineers, gathered to discuss the possible origins of the signal. It could have come from any number of places: a nearby planet, an alien civilization, or even another galaxy. But the most troubling thought was that it could be a trap. After all, humanity had never made contact with an extraterrestrial race. There was no way to know if the sender was friendly or if they had malicious intentions. Still, the message was clear. Someone, or something, was asking for help. But why send it across such a vast distance? If the sender was in trouble, would they even be able to receive a reply in time? The situation felt both urgent and terrifying. Then, just as everyone was grappling with the implications, something even more incredible happened. A massive object appeared in Earth's sky. It wasn't a plane, satellite, or any familiar object. It was unlike anything humanity had ever seen before. The object wasn't just large, it was gigantic, the size of a city, and it seemed to hang silently in the atmosphere as if it had appeared out of nowhere. It was dark and sleek, with sharp, angular shapes that defied the rules of conventional design. The shape seemed to shimmer in the sunlight, giving it an eerie, otherworldly glow. It didn't make any noise. It didn't move. It just hovered, casting an enormous shadow over Earth's surface. Military radars detected it, but nothing about it made sense. It didn't belong to any known country, and there were no signs of any conventional aircraft nearby. This wasn't a simple UFO. It was something far more advanced, a technological marvel that could not have possibly come from Earth. Panic began to spread. The military scrambled to respond, sending fighter jets to investigate, but they were stopped in their tracks before they could get close. As the jets approached, the warship, though it appeared dormant, flashed an ominous light, sending an energy pulse that sent the jets spiraling away. The world's leaders were in shock. They tried to communicate with the object, sending out messages on every frequency they could think of, but there was no response. The object didn't speak, didn't move, and didn't reveal any intentions. The military's top experts had never seen anything like it. Meanwhile, on Earth, the question echoed in the minds of everyone watching the news. What was it? Was it a weapon? A scout ship? Or had humanity just made its first real contact with an alien civilization? Theories ran wild, but no one had the answers. It was as if this warship had emerged from the future, too advanced, too powerful, and too mysterious for anyone to understand. It was clear that this was no ordinary ship. It was a technological marvel, far beyond anything Earth could create. As the hours turned into days, the warship continued to hover above Earth's atmosphere, its intentions unclear. The world's leaders called for unity. A decision had to be made. How would humanity respond to this unknown force? And then the unthinkable happened. The ship began to move. At first, It was a slow, calculated shift in position, but it soon became clear that the warship was preparing to land. It wasn't coming down in a violent way, but rather in a controlled descent. It was as though the ship had carefully calculated its every move. There was no crash, no destruction, only the quiet, deliberate lowering of the craft toward Earth's surface. The world watched in awe and fear. The entire planet seemed to hold its breath. As the ship got closer to Earth's surface, people started to see something else. On the ship's surface, strange symbols glowed softly. These weren't just random marks. They were structured, purposeful, as though they had meaning. Could they be a form of writing, a signal, or something even more incomprehensible? And then, just as the warship's massive hull almost touched Earth's soil, it stopped. Suspended in midair, the ship hovered just above the ground, its shadow stretching across the land. It was waiting for something, or someone. As Earth's military forces continued to monitor the situation, the world stood on edge, waiting for the next move. Was this the beginning of a new chapter in human history, or was it a threat that would change everything? The clock was ticking, and no one knew what would happen next. But one thing was clear. Whatever this warship was, it wasn't from Earth. It was a mystery, a riddle waiting to be solved. And humanity was about to be caught in its answer. First contact. As the days passed, tension continued to build. The warship remained suspended just above Earth's surface, its presence almost unbearable. No one could explain how such a colossal object could remain in place without any visible signs of propulsion or support. It was as if the ship had defied the very laws of physics, and the world could only watch in fearful awe. Governments around the world were on high alert. Military bases around the globe prepared for any possible action. Everyone was expecting the worst. But still, the warship showed no signs of attacking. It merely hovered, unyielding in its silent observation. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the ship began to show signs of life. A soft hum filled the air, almost imperceptible at first, but growing louder with each passing moment. The military scrambled to decipher any change. Was it going to fire? Was it activating its weapon systems? Every radar and satellite monitoring system zeroed in on the ship, but nothing was clear. Suddenly, the warship emitted a strange pulse of energy, a soft, glowing wave that spread across the ground beneath it. It wasn't a weapon, nor was it an attack. The pulse seemed more like a signal, a message. The air crackled with static, as if the ship was trying to communicate. Then, for the first time, the warship spoke. Not through conventional radio signals, not through any human language, but in a language of its own. The words were strange, foreign, and filled with an odd rhythm that seemed to resonate deep within the soul. Yet, somehow, Earth's systems were able to decode it. The message was short, direct, and chilling. We are humanity's future. You are humanity's past. The message flashed across screens worldwide. It was a statement that shook the very foundation of human knowledge. How could this be? Who were these beings who claimed to be humanity's future? What did it mean? Were they from some far-off future where humanity had evolved into something far more advanced? Or was this a threat, a warning about what was to come? Scientists and military experts were immediately called in to analyze the message. Linguists, computer specialists, and physicists all gathered to interpret its meaning. The one undeniable fact was that the message seemed clear. It wasn't just a warning. It was an invitation or a challenge. Theories ran wild. Some believed that this warship was a time-traveling vessel, sent back to warn humanity of some great disaster that would soon unfold. Others thought it was a message from a future civilization, eager to help or guide the past. But no one knew for sure. And with no answers to these questions, the fear and uncertainty only deepened. Within hours, the message from the warship was followed by another, this time clearer than before. A pulse of energy shot toward Earth, landing just outside the perimeter of the warship. In the center of the pulse, a holographic figure emerged, floating in midair. It was a being of light and energy, humanoid in shape, but not entirely human. Its features were blurred and shifting, its form constantly changing, as though it was trying to adapt to the surroundings. The holographic figure spoke. "We come not to harm, but to warn," it said. "The path you walk leads to destruction, but there is still time to change. The ship before you is your salvation, but it is also your test. You must decide how to use it. The future depends on your choice." The figure's voice echoed with a sense of authority, its words carrying a weight that no human voice could replicate. It wasn't just speaking to the leaders of Earth, it was speaking to humanity as a whole. Every single person on the planet, through the broadcasts and media, could hear and understand its words. The question that remained, however, was what these beings meant by salvation. And why had they come? Was Earth in danger? Had they arrived to prevent some catastrophe? The air was thick with tension as they moved deeper into the ship. They had expected to find something dangerous, something hostile, but there was nothing. No signs of alien life, no creatures, no automated defenses. It was almost as if the ship was waiting for them to do something. As they explored further, they came upon a large chamber, its walls lined with glowing panels and holographic displays. At the center of the room stood what appeared to be the heart of the ship, an enormous pulsing core surrounded by intricate patterns of light and energy. It was here that they first encountered the ship's AI, and its message would change everything. The AI appeared before them, not as a physical being, but as a holographic figure. It was humanoid in shape, with shimmering, translucent skin and a glowing blue light emanating from its center. Its face was ethereal, not fully human, but strangely familiar, like a vision of what humanity could become. Its voice was calm, yet filled with authority and wisdom. "We have been waiting for you," the AI spoke, its voice reverberating through the chamber. "You are the key to the future of your species." Captain Lyle and his team stood frozen, unsure of how to respond. They had expected to find an advanced ship or alien invaders, but this, a sentient eye. And what did it mean that they were the key? "You are at the crossroads," the AI continued. "The warship you stand upon was created for a purpose, to protect you from the destruction that awaits. The Kahathar will come. They are relentless. But this ship will ensure your survival if you choose to use it wisely." The words sent a shiver down their spines. The Kahathar, the same alien race the ship had warned about. They were coming, and there was nothing Earth could do to stop them unless they understood the ship's technology. The warship, the AI, and everything they had discovered so far had all been designed to prepare them for what was about to happen. It was then that the AI revealed its most shocking truth. "This ship was not built by aliens," it said. "It was built by you, or rather, by your future selves." The room fell silent as the realization hit. The warship, the AI, the technology. It all came from humanity's future, a future where Earth had been destroyed, but humanity had found a way to survive and return. This warship was a gift, a warning and a tool to prevent the same fate from occurring again. Captain Lyle's mind raced as the weight of the situation began to sink in. This was humanity's last chance to change the future, to prevent the Kahathar from wiping them out. The warship was their only hope, but the question remained, would humanity be ready to face the truth and use the power they had been given, or would they turn away from the future and doom themselves in the process? The team stood in stunned silence as the AI continued to speak, revealing the ship's full capabilities and its potential to change everything for humanity. But there was a cost. Nothing this advanced came without sacrifice. Would they be willing to pay the price? The alien threat. The room was still, the only sound coming from the soft hum of the warship's core. Captain Lyle's mind raced as the AI's words echoed in his head. The future had sent this warship back in time, not as a gift, but as a shield, a weapon against a coming invasion by the Kahathar, a ruthless alien race bent on destroying humanity. The truth was both overwhelming and terrifying. The Kahathar had ravaged countless worlds before setting their sights on Earth. Their technology was far beyond anything humanity could ever hope to match. But the Warship, this ship, this impossible technology, was humanity's last line of defense. The AI had made it clear, if humanity didn't act, the Kahathar would arrive, and Earth would fall. The air was thick with tension as the military's top officers, scientists, and strategists gathered to discuss the next move. It was a race against time. The Kahathar were coming, and they would arrive sooner than anyone expected. The Warship, though immensely powerful, was not enough on its own. The technology needed to be understood, and Earth's military had to be ready to wield it. The AI had spoken of activation, of a hidden power that lay dormant in the Warship. But it was clear that no one on Earth, no matter how advanced their technology, was capable of fully unlocking its potential. Only by collaborating with the ship's AI could they hope to harness its true power. Yet there was still so much they didn't understand. The air was thick with tension as the world's leaders began to discuss their next move. The Warship continued to hover above, its massive presence looming over Earth like an unblinking eye. Despite the promises of peace, no one could deny the potential danger it represented. For some, the Warship was a godsend, a chance for humanity to advance beyond its limitations. It was an opportunity to access knowledge and technology far beyond anything Earth had ever known. For others, it was a threat, an overwhelming force from the future that could change the course of human history in ways that were impossible to predict. As governments scrambled to make decisions, the Warship's holographic figure remained silent, awaiting a response. The world had been given a choice, but the path forward wasn't clear. Was humanity ready to embrace this strange new future? Or would they push away the help that was offered, risking everything in the process? As the military and scientists continued to study the Warship, one thing became evident. No matter the choice, humanity was about to face a turning point. The Warship wasn't just an object in the sky. It was a beacon, a symbol of what could be, or what could go terribly wrong. And Earth's fate, it seemed, rested on the decisions of a few, with the weight of the future pressing heavily on their shoulders. The Warship, the figure, the message, it was all part of a puzzle. And the world's leaders had to decide whether they would solve it, or whether they would be swept away by it. The awakening days passed, but the world continued to be consumed by the mystery of the Warship. It hovered above Earth's surface, unchanged, as if waiting for something, waiting for humanity to make a choice. But no decision was easy. The leaders of the world debated endlessly, and the military remained on high alert. While some believed this Warship was a gift from the future, offering humanity an unprecedented opportunity, others feared it was a weapon, designed to wipe out Earth as part of some grand scheme. Meanwhile, teams of scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to understand the ship's technology. At first, all efforts to study the Warship seemed in vain. Its surface was impenetrable, and any attempts to send probes or drones close were met with powerful energy pulses that disabled them instantly. It was as though the ship had a mind of its own, controlling every move made against it. It wasn't until Earth's most brilliant minds collaborated that they made a startling discovery. The ship's surface wasn't just a barrier. It was a complex system of nanotechnology, constantly shifting and repairing itself in real time. No one had seen anything like it. As scientists dug deeper into the Warship's outer shell, it became clear that this was no ordinary piece of machinery. The ship's materials were made of a substance that didn't exist on Earth. It was far stronger than anything humanity had ever discovered. The nanotechnology within the ship's surface constantly adjusted, adapting to any attempt to penetrate it. It was as if the ship was alive, growing, evolving, changing. One day, as a team of engineers tried a new method to break through the ship's defenses, something extraordinary happened. The Warship's surface suddenly began to glow, a soft, pulsating light radiating from the ship like a heartbeat. The air around the ship shimmered as energy began to build up. Then, without warning, the ship's main port opened, slowly and deliberately. No one knew how or why, but the ship was allowing them inside. This was the moment the world had been waiting for. The military scrambled to deploy a team of specialists, experts in alien technology, to board the ship. Tension filled the air as they prepared for what might lie within. Could they trust the warship? Could they believe that this was truly a gift from the future, or was this the moment when the invasion would begin? The team, led by Captain Aaron Lyle, a seasoned commander with a reputation for his level-headed approach in high-pressure situations, moved forward with caution. His team entered the warship's open bay, their weapons drawn and their eyes wide with uncertainty. The moment they crossed the threshold into the warship's inner chamber, they were met with an eerie silence. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. The interior was massive, like a vast city, but it was hollow, empty, and strange. There were no walls, no clear boundaries, only an endless expanse of technology. Everywhere they looked, there were glowing symbols and machinery that hummed with power. Some of it resembled technology far beyond anything humanity could understand, while other parts seemed to be eerily familiar, as if they were parts of the very technology that Earth had been developing, but taken to unimaginable extremes. Meanwhile, the world watched, unaware of the growing threat. News broadcasts around the globe were flooded with reports of the mysterious warship and its cryptic messages. The public, on one hand, marveled at the possibility of salvation, but on the other hand, the fear of the unknown was palpable. The Kahathar were an ancient race, and their reputation for destruction was legendary. Could humanity truly stand a chance? As the days passed, Earth's military forces began to mobilize, preparing for the inevitable invasion. Fighter jets, warships, and ground forces were put on high alert. But no matter how many forces were brought together, they all knew that against the Kahathar's might, Earth was still outmatched. At the warship's core, Captain Lyle and his team worked tirelessly alongside the AI to decode its systems and weapons. But time was running out. The Kahathar were on their way, and the final countdown had begun. Then, a chilling piece of news arrived. A fleet of Kathar ships had been detected on the outer edge of the solar system. They were fast, too fast for Earth's forces to intercept. The aliens were closing in. The moment of truth was upon them. The AI revealed that humanity's only chance of survival was to harness the full power of the warship. It would require an immense amount of energy, an energy source so powerful it could wipe out the entire Kahathar fleet in a single strike. But the cost would be high. The warship would have to sacrifice itself to power the weapon, and once activated, there would be no turning back. Captain Lyle knew the decision was not his alone. The leaders of Earth had to be consulted. It wasn't just the military who would decide the fate of the planet. It was humanity as a whole. A global summit was convened, where world leaders gathered to discuss their options. The decision was unanimous. Earth would fight. Humanity would use the warship's power to defeat the Kahathar, no matter the cost. In the final days leading up to the invasion, the warship was prepared. Earth's military trained alongside the AI, learning to operate the ship's advanced weapon systems. The warship's energy core was charged, its weapon systems powered up, and its advanced defenses unlocked. But the AI reminded them once more, the final battle would be a gamble. The power of the warship could defeat the Kahathar, but it could also destroy the ship and humanity's only hope, forever. As the first Kahathar ships entered Earth's orbit, Captain Lyle stood on the bridge of the warship, watching the darkened sky. The time had come. The battle for Earth's survival would soon begin. The Kahathar fleet, unlike anything humanity had seen before, descended from the stars. Their ships were massive, black, angular, and covered in sharp, jagged edges. Each ship was equipped with weaponry capable of tearing through anything in its path. Earth's defenses were ready, but the Kahathar had a reputation for being invincible. The warship, now fully activated and powered, unleashed its first attack. A blast of energy shot out from its core, a beam of pure light that hit the nearest Cather ship. The alien vessel was torn apart instantly, disintegrating into nothing more than space debris. For a moment, Earth's forces celebrated. It was working, but the victory was short-lived. The Cathar were far more prepared than they had anticipated. More ships emerged from the void, their numbers overwhelming. The battle raged across Earth's atmosphere as the warship fired its weapons and defended the planet with everything it had. But it wasn't enough. The Cathar were relentless. As the warship continued to fire upon the alien fleet, the AI made a bold decision. It activated the warship's final weapon, the energy pulse that could wipe out the entire Cathar fleet in one devastating blow. But doing so would require the warship to sacrifice its core. The pulse would drain all its power, causing the ship to disintegrate in the process. It was a one-way trip. Captain Lyle had no choice. Earth's survival depended on it. He ordered the AI to fire. The warship's core began to pulse with an intensity that shook the entire ship. A final, massive burst of energy erupted from the ship, enveloping the Cathar fleet in a blinding explosion of light. The Cathar ships disintegrated before Earth's eyes. The warship's final strike had succeeded. But as the energy wave spread, the warship's core began to collapse. The ship was falling apart. The AI's final message echoed in the captain's ears. "The future has been saved. You must now protect it." The warship, humanity's salvation, was no more. But Earth was alive, and humanity had been given a second chance, a race against time. The world was left in stunned silence as the massive explosion of light faded into the cosmos. The Cathar fleet had been obliterated, their ships disintegrated in an instant by the warship's final self-sacrificial energy pulse. Earth's skies were now clear, but the victory felt hollow. The warship, the ship that had been humanity's hope, was gone, its core destroyed in the wake of the battle. But the Cathar threat had been neutralized. Earth had survived for now. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's leaders held an emergency summit. The world's military forces had done their best to defend their home, but the truth was clear. Without the warship's advanced technology, humanity would have been doomed. The warship had been their ultimate weapon, the only hope against the Cathar's relentless might. However, Earth now faced an even more pressing challenge. The Cathar were defeated, but their invasion had left a deep scar in the fabric of Earth's defense systems. Many parts of the planet had suffered from the battle in the skies, and crucial military infrastructure had been destroyed in the chaos. Recovery would take years, and with the warship gone, humanity was left vulnerable once again. What had been a near-death experience was now a race against time to rebuild. Captain Lyle, though exhausted, knew that his mission wasn't over. The battle for Earth's future had been won, but now came the real challenge: ensuring that humanity never faced such a threat again. The warship had been the key to their survival, but the technology it contained was still a mystery. The AI's words had been clear. Earth's future depended on humanity's ability to harness the ship's advanced technology. They needed to understand how the warship had functioned, how it had been able to destroy the Cathar fleet, and how they could rebuild the systems that had made it possible. Days after the battle, Captain Lyle and his team returned to the warship's wreckage. The remains of the ship had fallen to Earth after the energy pulse, but it had crashed in a remote, uninhabited region far from human settlements. The wreckage was now nothing but a pile of charred metal and broken technology, a reminder of what had been sacrificed. The team worked tirelessly to recover whatever fragments of the warship's core technology they could find. They had limited time. The AI's final message still rang in their ears. "The future has been saved. You must now protect it." But how? As Captain Lyle dug deeper into the wreckage, he discovered something unexpected. Hidden beneath the layers of destroyed systems was a small, intact device, an ancient-looking datapad, glowing faintly with energy. It had been protected in the final moments of the ship's destruction, and its data core remained largely intact. The team quickly began to analyze the device. They found blueprints, schematics, and an array of data files, unlike anything they had ever seen. The files contained detailed plans for new technologies, energy sources, weaponry, communication systems, everything humanity would need to defend itself from future threats. It was a roadmap for Earth's future, a blueprint for a new era of technology. But there was one catch. The technology required a level of understanding that humanity had not yet achieved. The systems were too advanced for Earth's current infrastructure. The data was so complex that even the best minds of Earth struggled to comprehend it. It was as if the ship's creators had designed this technology with a future generation in mind, one capable of using it to rebuild civilization and defend against any force that threatened Earth. The race was now on, not just to rebuild, but to unlock the secrets of the warship and its technology before any new threat emerged. The time to act was now. Earth could not afford to waste the opportunity to advance, or they risked facing the next invader without the means to defend themselves. Captain Lyle, along with a team of scientists and engineers, spearheaded the project to decipher the warship's technology. They worked day and night, using every tool at their disposal to understand the plans stored within the device. It was a difficult task, with numerous failures along the way. But slowly they began to make progress. As they cracked each piece of the puzzle, the picture of humanity's future began to take shape. Energy sources that could power entire cities, weapons that could defend against the most advanced alien threats, medical technologies that could heal wounds previously thought incurable. All of it was within reach, but it would take time. Time that Earth didn't have. The new task became clear. Humanity had to accelerate its understanding and development of this advanced technology. It was no longer enough to just rebuild. They had to leap forward, faster than ever before. The clock was ticking, and the world had already seen the devastation that could occur when they weren't prepared. Meanwhile, around the globe, there were whispers, rumors that the Kahather might not be the only alien threat out there. The warship had been humanity's protection against one of the deadliest forces in the galaxy. But if there were others just as powerful or more, humanity would need to be ready. Captain Lyle looked at the shattered remains of the warship. It had saved them, but the future of humanity still rested on their shoulders. There were answers buried in the wreckage, answers that would shape the course of the next chapter in Earth's history. The battle had been won, but the war for humanity's survival was far from over. The future had been bought at a high price, but now it was up to the survivors to protect it. They had seen what could happen when humanity was unprepared. They would never make the same mistake again. And so the race against time began, a race to not only rebuild but to step into the future, armed with the knowledge that their survival was no longer guaranteed. The road ahead was uncertain, but humanity had one final chance to secure its place in the universe. The future was in their hands. The final battle. The days following the warship's destruction were filled with tension. Earth had survived the Kahather invasion, but the cost was immense. The warship, their protector, was gone, and its technology, while a beacon of hope for humanity's future, was still not fully understood. The world was working hard to rebuild, but there was an underlying fear that, with the Kahather defeated, other, even greater threats could be lurking in the shadows. Despite the uncertainty, Earth's leaders had made a choice. They would take what the warship had left behind and accelerate their efforts. The advanced technology stored in the device that Captain Lyle had discovered became the cornerstone of humanity's next chapter. The teams working around the clock had made some remarkable progress, unlocking new energy sources, developing weaponry capable of defending the planet, and even designing new communication systems that could reach farther than ever before. But in the back of every scientist's mind was one terrifying truth. The Kahather were only the beginning. And then, as if on cue, the next wave of danger arrived, this time from a direction no one had expected. It was a routine scan. Military satellites, continuing their monitoring of the outer edges of the solar system, picked up an anomaly. It wasn't a ship, not a fleet. It was an energy signature unlike anything they had seen before. The power output was off the charts. It was moving fast, too fast for Earth's military forces to intercept, and it wasn't long before Earth's defenses had confirmed the worst possible news. It was a ship that was far larger than the Cathar vessels, far more advanced. Its design was entirely different, but one thing was clear: it wasn't human, and it wasn't alone. This was no rogue ship. This was a force of nature, a warship so vast and powerful that Earth's defenses didn't stand a chance. The new threat wasn't just coming to invade Earth, it was coming to annihilate it. The world held its breath as the news spread. This was no longer a single alien race threatening the future of humanity. It was an entire new breed of enemies. Alien factions from across the galaxy, drawn together by the Cathar's failure to destroy Earth. The Cathar, it seemed, were just one part of a larger galactic conflict. The new enemy's forces, vast and relentless, began to enter Earth's orbit, overwhelming Earth's first line of defense with their superior technology. With the warship destroyed and Earth's defenses still in their infancy, it was clear that the planet had no chance against this new invader. But there was a small glimmer of hope. In the chaos, Captain Lyle, who had been working tirelessly with Earth's top military strategists, made a startling discovery. Some of the remaining pieces of the warship, components that had been stored away for study, contained powerful energy weapons that had been previously unknown. If used correctly, they could turn the tide of the battle. But it would require a coordinated strike, one that would risk everything. The decision was made. A desperate plan was set into motion. The new enemy, though formidable, was not invincible. The technology humanity had started to unlock was their only chance. Captain Lyle and his team gathered at the military command center, where they planned their final strike. The goal wasn't just to defeat this new enemy, but to send a clear message. Humanity would never again be vulnerable. They would stand, fight, and defend their planet at all costs. The ultimate weapon that humanity had developed from the warship's technology, the energy pulse, would be their last hope. But activating the pulse would be no easy feat. The energy required was enormous. The weapon could obliterate entire fleets, but it would drain all of Earth's remaining power, leaving the planet vulnerable in the aftermath. It was a one-shot weapon. The team had to strike at the heart of the invader's forces, using the warship's advanced targeting systems to ensure that it landed a devastating blow. As the countdown to launch began, Earth's military forces were put on high alert. The enemy ships were already in Earth's atmosphere, preparing to descend to the surface. There was no time left to hesitate. It was now or never. The final battle began. With the power of the new technology at their disposal, humanity's forces engaged the enemy. Earth's fleet, though still small in comparison, fought with everything they had. The warship's weaponry, while primitive by the invader's standards, still managed to land heavy blows. Each attack sent shockwaves through the enemy ranks, but it was clear that it wouldn't be enough. The invaders had far more firepower, and their fleets were unyielding. As the battle raged on, the energy pulse was activated. Captain Lyle and his team stood at the control center, their hearts pounding. They watched as the weapon powered up, its energy reading off the charts. It was the last hope. With one final push, the pulse was released. A blinding beam of energy shot into the heart of the invaders' fleet, tearing through their ships like paper. The force was unimaginable, more powerful than anything Earth had ever seen. The pulse ripped through the alien forces, destroying their warships in an instant. The enemy fleet crumbled under the attack. The remaining ships disintegrated before Earth's eyes, leaving nothing but debris and scattered wreckage in space. Humanity had won, against all odds, against overwhelming power, against a galaxy of enemies. But the cost was heavy. The pulse drained Earth's remaining energy reserves. The warship's technology, the last remnants of the once mighty vessel, had been spent. The world was now left with the aftermath of the battle. The planet was scared, and the energy infrastructure was depleted. It would take years, decades perhaps, to rebuild the systems that had been lost. Earth was victorious, but at what price? Captain Lyell stood in the silence, staring out at the wreckage of the battle. Humanity had proven that it could survive, that it could fight, that it could protect its future. But the cost had been high, and the road ahead would be long and uncertain. The final battle had been won, but humanity's journey was far from over. The scars of the war were deep, and the future was still uncertain. But as long as they had the will to fight, they would rebuild. The future was in their hands, and they would never forget the sacrifices that had made it possible to protect it. The war was over for now, but the next chapter had only just begun. Victory and sacrifice. The silence that followed the final battle was deafening. Earth's skies, once filled with the threat of alien invaders, were now clear. The enemy fleet lay in ruins, their ships scattered across space in a sea of shattered metal. Humanity had survived. The enemy had been defeated, yet the cost had been enormous. Captain Lyell stood on the bridge of the command center, staring out at the debris of the enemy fleet. It was over, but the victory felt bittersweet. The energy pulse, the ultimate weapon, had been activated, draining the remaining power of Earth's defenses. The planet was left vulnerable once again, with no warship to defend it. The technology that had once been humanity's greatest asset was now gone. The world was still reeling from the aftermath. Earth's infrastructure, crippled in the final battle, would need years of rebuilding. Power grids were down, communications were disrupted, and key military systems were non-functional. The human race had won, but it had paid a heavy price. Yet in the midst of the destruction, there was hope. For the first time in a long while, humanity had proven that it could stand on its own, that it could fight and survive without relying on the advanced technology from the future. It was a victory not just of weapons, but of will, determination, and unity. The warship had been a symbol of their resilience, and though it was gone, the spirit of that victory lived on in every human who had fought to protect Earth. As Earth's leaders began to take stock of what had been lost, they also began to make plans for the future. The warship's technology, though now gone, had left behind invaluable knowledge. The data recovered from its wreckage, schematics, blueprints, and other materials, provided humanity with the foundation to rebuild and grow stronger. The lessons learned from the warship systems would guide the next generation of scientists and engineers, ensuring that Earth would never again be caught unprepared. But the most important lesson was that Earth's future was in its own hands. Humanity had not relied on outside forces or alien technology to win the battle. It was the unity of nations, the bravery of soldiers, and the ingenuity of scientists that had saved the planet. The warship had been a tool, a powerful one, but in the end, it was humanity's resolve that made the difference. Captain Lyell, now standing in the rubble of the battle, couldn't help but reflect on the sacrifices made. The soldiers who had given their lives in the defense of Earth, the scientists who had worked tirelessly to unlock the warship's secrets, and the civilians who had endured the terror of invasion. Every sacrifice had led to this moment. The warship had come from humanity's future to protect its past, but in the end, it was humanity itself that had ensured the future's survival. In the months that followed, Earth began the long process of rebuilding. The warship's legacy lived on in the new technologies that were developed from the knowledge it left behind. Cities were rebuilt, communication systems restored, and a new sense of unity emerged. Humanity had learned that no matter how advanced the enemy or the technology, it was the strength of the human spirit that would always prevail. But there were still unanswered questions. The warship's message, "We are humanity's future, you are humanity's past," echoed in Captain Lyell's mind. What had the future held for Earth? What challenges had humanity faced that had driven them to build such a powerful warship, and why had they sent it back to protect the past? Though the war had ended, the mysteries surrounding the warship, the HFY, and the larger galactic conflict remained. It was clear that Earth was no longer alone in the universe. The Cahathar were just one part of a much larger story. The victory over them was just the beginning. There were other threats out there, other forces watching Earth, waiting to see what humanity would do next. But for now, Earth had a moment of peace, and that peace, though fragile, was a victory worth fighting for. The scars of the war would remain, but they would also serve as a reminder of what humanity had overcome. The future, once uncertain, now lay before them, a future they would face together, with the lessons of the past guiding them forward. Captain Lyle knew that the battle was over, but the true war, for humanity's survival, was only just beginning. The road ahead would be difficult, but Earth had proven that it could endure. It was time to rebuild, to learn, and to grow stronger. And as long as humanity stood united, the future would be theirs to shape.